Cool. This is a very special episode. This
Yeah.
is the 30th episode of the Content Playbook. We've come a long way. And we have a very interesting topic to talk about today. We are talking about creators and movies. Well, creators and movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
The bleed of content into traditional media. We're going to talk about economics, how people are doing it, what people are doing across geographies. We have some very cool case studies from India, also from the US. I'll first talk about the inception of this idea of like why I wanted to talk about this, right? So I was watching Chalchitra Talks and I feel like I've been living under a rock because they are just, it's such a brilliant show, right? The guy Webhuff, he's such an amazing interviewer. He's such a gem of an interviewer. You know, he's just such a gentle soul, such a nice person. I absolutely love listening to him. I actually just stumbled across the episode that he did with Ashish Chanchlani. And later I realized that it was partly to promote his new TV show, which is called Ekaki. It's like a horror comedy thing that Ashish is doing. And I think that sort of lit the fire of the idea that, hey, a lot of these creators are reaching up to a point where they're going mainstream. BBK Vines has already done it with Taza Khabar and Dindora.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of people who have... Then I also read a newsletter by Colin and Samir about like a similar horror comedy thing in the US for creator that like we don't really know about. But so that's how it sort of started. And then we realized that, hey, like there are a lot of sort of gold nuggets here that we can talk about, right? But cool. Should I talk about Ekaki?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So just to give a brief on Ekaki. Ekaki is basically written, directed, acted by Ashish Chanchlani and sort of his crew, right?
Yeah.
These comedy creators had this crew of people who they make content with. So he has basically taken that crew, from my understanding. I don't follow him too much.
Right.
He's taken that crew and then they have shot this entire thing.
I don't think it's just his crew. I think there's a lot of overlap with other creators also. But yes,
Could be. Yeah.
Everybody runs in the same circles.
Yes.
That is definitely there.
Correct.
Yes.
And the one thing that I took away from that episode was like everyone makes fun of Ashish. Like the only thing that I've seen about Ashish is that the Carrie Minati parody videos, right? Where everyone other go, he likes Marvel and he's doing XYZ with Marvel and various body parts of Marvel. And I didn't realize that Ashish is a phenomenal sort of information source for movies.
Yeah.
Did you know that Ashish Chanchlani's family comes from the movie business, not the producer business?
Right.
They have multiple theaters, right? They
They
have like
multiple theaters.
Yes, it started off as like a single screen cinemas,
Okay.
but he comes from the business of distribution, literally.
Oh.
Right. So I think in Bollywood, a lot of people talk about the making of films. No one talks about the distribution of films, and that's what Ashish's dad did. Right. So they had a single screen theater, and he talks about bunking school and going there, and like sitting and chilling and all of that. And just the amount of information that he has in his head, along with Gaurav, both of them are like these pop culture nerds. I was just mind blown to listen to these guys sort of nerd out on movies, right? And I feel like a lot of interesting nuggets came out, which draw like a similar parallel to the creator economy, right? Which is what basically I want to talk about. But you were going to say something.
So I came across this podcast specifically because we were doing research for some other episode. Just like stumbled upon this by accident. You can see this parallel of, in their conversation, you can clearly see how the culture evolved around cinema during the years that they grew up. That for me was very interesting to see. I was like, oh, this is why this happened. Because I have zero context when it comes to Hindi cinema. I haven't watched any Hindi cinema until I hit +1. Until then, had never watched the Hindi cinema. So I had no context. Watching this felt like, oh, all this happened. And it was a great recap for me, at least.
Right.
It was very nice watching that, yeah.
So, this always happens when I listen to stories of an era or a time that's gone by, right?
Okay.
And generally this happens in like 20 years. Like if you look at that like 90s period or, like the 90s to 2010s period, because I feel like after 2010, this new sort of generation started, right?
Yeah.
You always get to listen to these stories that just like open your mind. But at the same time, you get to see that history actually repeats itself.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm at that weird point where I'm also getting older, right? Like I've just turned
Yeah.
28 and you get to see that, okay, like fuck, you can see the generational shift slowly happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very interesting sort of experience that you cannot, like no one can
There's no substitute
prepare
for this.
for it.
Correct.
Yeah, no one can prepare you for it.
Yeah.
So the first thing that was very interesting that Ashish mentioned is the difference and balance between art versus commerce. So he was talking about, you know, how in movies, I'm pretty sure this happens in almost all cinema industries, regardless of geography, that you have some movies that are like way ahead of their time, right? Like imagine, and this is with me, with my limited movie knowledge, so please don't kill me in the comments. Let's say like a Delhi Belly,
Correct.
right? Or like a,
No smoking.
I guess Tamasha.
Okay.
Maybe like these movies, maybe Tamasha did well, I don't know. But these movies that were like cult classics,
Right.
but didn't
Gangs
do
of
well
Wasseypur.
on the, that didn't do
but
well on
they
the
did
box
well.
office, right?
No
Correct.
smoking.
I haven't seen
Gangs
it.
of Wasseypur did really well.
No, Gangs of Wasseypur didn't do well because in one interview, Anurag Kashyap was saying ki, I hate when people tell me Gangs of Wasseypur was great because if it was great, why didn't you go watch it? Right?
Correct.
Again, please take this with a fistful of salt.
Yeah.
So he says that there's always a balance between art and commerce, right? Like you can't make a movie that is a great movie for money. It's oil and water.
Yeah.
So you have to pick and choose. Either you make something, let's say if you take Animal, for example, right? Extremely controversial. You can debate if it is a great movie or not.
It's a good movie or not.
It's a good movie or not. I mean, it was entertaining for sure.
It is entertaining.
Controversial opinion.
Yeah.
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
But you can debate like towards the specifics of it, and if you're like a connoisseur, movie connoisseur, was it good or not?
Yeah.
But the point is, it made money.
Yeah.
Right? You can say that, hey, like the worst of worst movies with like the shittiest of story, shittiest of continuity and all of that. It's a really bad movie on paper.
Yeah.
It still makes money.
Yeah.
Right? So are you looking at it as a creative pursuit? Are you looking at it as a commercial pursuit? Right?
Correct.
So I think he put that very well, that if you're doing it for art, do it for art, expect that no one is going to watch it. Right? And he used the example of a recent movie that he said did really well. Tumbad, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Tumbad, yeah.
Tumbad, he said that Tumbad, great movie. The creators did not expect it to do well.
Correct.
Right? And I don't think it did that well.
No, bro, it did really well.
Did it?
Like because
a lot of people say it's underrated.
So it definitely had the potential to do so much more better, but it still did really well considering it's a very regional film. Because it didn't do well on the first run, but it was re-released to do well.
Correct. It didn't do well on the first
time. Yes,
right?
correct.
That's what. So it was an underrated film. Of course, it gained popularity later on.
Time, yeah.
So that's what he was saying, that Tumbad, great movie, did not do well in the first
Let's
run.
just check if it was re-released to do well. Because
Film connected 13 crores. It didn't do well.
Correct. It
Production
didn't do
cost was probably 8 crores. Right? So it wasn't like a huge hit.
It was re-released. Check what happened with the re-release.
Re-release was 53 crores.
Correct. So it was
combined lifetime collections were 53 crores,
correct.
Right?
The re-release gave life to
So the first time of course it made money and then it got a little more, but it wasn't like a blockbuster, which clearly in the creative side of things, it was a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Right? But commercially it was not.
Correct.
And Ashish was mentioning how the creators knew that they were not expecting it to do well.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't like, oh, we're going to make a hit. Right?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we just want to make a movie.
Correct.
So he said you have to pick and choose. You can't pick one and want the other. Right?
Yeah.
I think that has like a very good sort of analogy on content also. It's very symmetrical, right? In the sense that if you're making content to reach the masses, you will have to dumb it down.
Correct.
You can't be like very refined and niche and I'm very like polished and want like 10 million views. It doesn't work.
Yeah, like if art and commerce were a scale, you have to see where on the scale you want to get to.
Exactly.
So I personally believe if, let's say, art on the extreme is pure art and commerce on the extreme is pure commerce, I would say financial institutions come somewhere here on the right end where it's just pure commerce. It's just numbers, nothing else.
Right.
And on the other end of art, where it's just like pure art. It's just like probably nobody will watch it, but it's like mind-blowing art. And all of us fall in somewhere in that scale.
Right.
Like, I would say Christopher Nolan is lean towards the art, but he makes more like great money.
Right.
So he's still on the art side. He makes the
No, I
movies
think
for
even
the art.
my movie
still.
buff friends say that Nolan has sort of sold out. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments below. But he said that, he's not making the same sort of level of movies that he was before.
Right.
Like Interstellar was, dude, it was something else only. I saw it for the first time this year.
Yeah. But also, come on, Tenet. Do you think you will be able to understand it
I didn't understand.
to the core of it? No,
I watched it.
I didn't understand, bro.
understand, yeah.
I watched it like 4 times.
So a lot of my friends said ki, and I have like some crazy, like insanely
Hardcore.
obsessed movie friends.
Okay.
So they were like, yeah, he's kind of, it's not the same as he was before. So I think you have to pick it. So that was the first point, right? Art versus commerce. Then the second very interesting thing that he said was the gap between super hit and super flop movies just keeps on increasing. And that was such like an aha moment for me, because he said there is no middle class of movies, right? Like before, you could make any movie and it would do well.
Yeah.
Right? Well, in the sense, you wouldn't have to worry about breaking even. You wouldn't have to worry about, no one's going to show up. The competition for attention was very less.
Yeah.
You put something, people will come.
Yeah.
But now you have to be very, very surgical in what you are making.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what's happening with content also, right? Because now brands, individuals, creators, you cannot just go and make something without a clear plan of what it is that you want to make, right? You have to be very surgical. You have to be very conscious. I remember back in the day, there used to be all of the channels that initially gained popularity, You take like a Dice Media, Filter Copy,
Correct.
Scoop Whoop, OG Scoop Whoop,
yeah.
OG AIB,
Men's XP.
Men's XP, right? If you look at their videos, they were not nearly as complex as videos have to be today. They were literally two guys sitting together,
Yeah.
eating food, right?
Yeah.
AIB is, just like take a phone camera and just like record a bunch of shit that's happening.
Correct.
Right? Of course, later their sketches got more complicated. Yeah. But this being Indian thing, it was literally like one cameraman just following you around and him taking interviews of people on the road. Sort of not overcomplicating it. Very straightforward. And that would work. That would get millions of views. Dude, I still remember telling my friend, dude, we need to do something like pretentious movie reviews. I was in 11th and 12th. And I was like, dude, we can do that. Why are we not doing this? It was literally two people scripting, sitting in front of the camera side by side and talking. How difficult is that?
Yeah.
Right? Of course, there is a different level of difficulty when it comes to scripting and having that taste and all of that. But like now you cannot do that. Now you need, editing. You have to think of, like what's
survival has become
unique
harder.
This thing. Yes.
Yeah.
There is no middle class of content
Anymore.
There is no middle class of movies anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Very
So
interesting.
that, and I think that also mimics the economic state of the country right now. The middle class is being squeezed.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
And I guess it's happening everywhere. Again, I'm not an expert.
Okay.
So it's happening everywhere. Right? Like you can't just survive on a decent salary anymore. You need like an outsized, especially in a place like Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, right? Of course, you can go to a tier 2 town and all of that. Yeah. But like before, you imagine, dude, how old are you? You're 27, right?
Yeah.
I'm 28.
Yeah.
My parents had me by the time they were 28, right?
Right.
So like my dad was the only person earning. He had a family. We had a car. Sure, it might have been on loans, EMIs, jo bhi hai, but that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like it was things were so much more affordable.
Yeah.
Similarly, now that trickle down effect is happening in media also, right? Like people want an extreme. They either want, like incredibly mind blowing movie or nothing in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Or it just flops.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the middle, right? I should have read up on Ormax reports to have more numbers on hand.
Number-driven conversation.
Yeah.
True.
So that's an interesting point. And the natural sort of question that brings up is, how do you capitalize on something like this? Right? Like how do you capitalize when everyone is polarized? I think that ironically brings up an opportunity in the middle.
More than middle class, I feel like there is no place for average movies anymore. You can't make a decent movie and make it work.
That's
Like,
so middle
it has
class.
to
I
be
don't mean
real.
economically middle class.
Okay.
Figuratively
Content-wise.
speaking.
Oh, okay.
If
No,
you
makes
have
sense. No,
like
I'm
a
not
crazy movie is like upper class and a movie that's flopping. You can have a great movie that's like very expensive movie that's also flopping. That is, let's say, a poor movie,
Yeah.
right? So in terms of qualitatively, or better yet, in terms of the amount of audience that they have managed to pull, right? So either a movie is a blockbuster. Or a movie gets zero audience. There is no movie that might get, like, you can't put up a show. Throughout the conversation, what I realized was the whole distribution game, as a distributor, as owning a cinema, you are a programmer. You are deciding, it's like a television channel. You are deciding which slot, who do I put? Right? Imagine you have a theater opens when? 10 a.m., I guess? 7 a.m.?
No, 10.
You have some 7 a.m.
Usually,
shows also, right?
That is an added show. Nobody,
so let's say you have a 10 a.m.
show,
right?
That's the first
so
show.
now you have 10 a.m. to, I would imagine, 10 p.m. is the last show, assuming. So you have 12
the show
hours
starts
of-
at 9:30. So it'll go until 12:30.
Shoot start. No,
Show starts at 9:30. 9:30 is the last
let's
show.
just take 10 to 10, right? So 10 a.m. you start, 10 p.m. you end. You have a 12-hour window.
Correct.
Now you have to figure out in what time most people are coming. You have to put the show that will sell the most then.
Correct.
Right? Then at the least times, can you still put a show that will sell some tickets? Right? So it's all an optimization game. Whereas before, you knew ki, oh, people will only come in a 4-hour window, right? Because people don't even know about malls. You put whatever they'll watch. Right? I thought that was a very interesting sort of thing to think about. If you can come across, okay, like what is not there in the market anymore in terms of everyone is going for extremes. So now there is a little pocket somewhere where normal content will also work, right? That I thought was very interesting.
If you see, like when like a lot of single-sided movies are going on, let's say like something blows up, like Bahubali or some other movie that really blows up. Now you see a lot of movies that are coming on similar lines. Like right now, the trend is mythology. Like if you see, every industry is making mythological movies.
But mythology
like
is
on the
always
big
there.
scale.
No? In India, always mythology.
Go 10 years back and tell me one mythologically driven thing that released
Wasn't
10 years back.
Ramayan a big thing 10 years back?
No.
Or maybe Ramayan was there like when I was even younger. Ramayan was always a big thing. No?
Ramayan was always a
That
big
animated
thing. Where
Ramayan.
was the movie? Where was the Ramayan the movie?
There was
in the
that
last 10
animated
years?
movie, no?
Bro, that was like 1980s, bro.
90s, I
That
think.
is-
But yeah, it was.
And in any sense, that was made by a Japanese company. That's an anime that was made. And why people mention it so much? Because they like by far people agree that is probably the best representation of Ramayana that has actually come out in the recent times. Like considering the recent movies that have come out. Like our Mr. Om, he blundered the Ramayana movie that came out, which had spent like 400 crores, where Prabhas was like the
Yugo
lead
Sako
character.
was a Japanese film director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because that movie became that big of a blunder,
Produced by Yugo Sako.
that is why people were saying ki, oh, this animated movie was so much better than this. If you had released this movie only instead of this, we would have still watched it.
Right.
Considering that, you have a movie that really blows it out of the park. Exactly why I said Bahubali is because it's as close to mythology as it gets without getting particular.
Right.
And there is like a very high mythological sense to it. And if you see after that, there was this bull run of movies where like a lot of mythological movies were getting made. If you see right now, we are close to the peak, I would say. Like peak just passed away.
Dude, it released in 1993. What?
Yeah.
So the movie is called Ramayana, The Legend of Prince Rama.
Correct.
It was the thing that we saw when we were young as kids.
Yeah.
Right? Produced by Yugo Sako, who was a Japanese producer and director.
Yep.
Dude, the initial release, I think the initial release, this thing is not there. It got re-released, remastered in 4K this year in 2025.
Yeah.
First 7-day collection was 3 crores.
Yeah.
Total projected earnings were 5.4 crores. Insane, man.
Yeah, bro. Because it's a really well-made film. And people pick a trend, right? Like even producers like think of it like, oh, what are people watching? It's also data-driven, right? Like, oh, you made the movie, it like super, like it's blown out of the park. Now, as a producer who has not invested in a movie like this, my idea is, bro, this is what people are watching. This is what I should be making. And I'll put money in a mythological driven with script. Like it's automatic, right? Like then you start seeing a lot of mythologically driven scripts also.
But what do you think about this? Like, I really want to have like a, I don't know, like a session with a bunch of creators on, like Tanmay Bhatt also said, right? Ki as more and more people start making content, the per unit effort that it takes to make content will keep on increasing.
Correct.
Right? Like content will become more polarized. People who are putting in more effort are going to get views. And people who are not either you get 0 views or you get like a shit ton of views. There's nothing in the middle.
Correct.
Right? So how can a creator who is in 2025 or 2026 making content, how can they leverage this insight? I feel like the more polarized you get, either you should be really good in one thing, right? Either you should be, let's say, really good in like one single niche, or you do this thing where you go opposite to what everyone else is doing, right? Where it's kind of like that thing where the pendulum swings in one direction, there's a vacuum in the other direction where you can go and occupy.
That's why the point also makes sense, right? Like no matter what, movie is still an art form. It's still art at the end of the day. So you think of it from the lens of art. And as far as I have seen audiences also, it is only a matter of being good. See, you will watch the same kind of movie if it's good twice also.
But I feel like the threshold for good keeps on increasing, right?
Correct. Like if once you see a movie,
it's not good anymore. It's great.
Yeah. Once you watch a movie like RRR, then your threshold for a good movie is like off the charts.
Correct. And I think then it becomes like a balance of. Didn't Gaurav also talk about that? Hey, we were pitching a film, right? An adult comedy thing.
Yeah, and he said, "Ki, oh, can you bring a script like this?" And we'll
exactly.
Do it. Yeah?
So I mean, I would extrapolate that to say ki the people who were the producers, they were looking for the it factor.
Yeah.
Right. And generally, these things are outside of the obvious it factor realm.
Correct.
Like you would never imagine, I think, like a Gangs of Wasipur or a Sacred Games or a Tumbad.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't the it factor then.
Right.
But because it was out of the norm, it worked.
Yeah.
So that's how people, like they chased the trend, right? Like it's a lagging, all the producers and the people who are in power, they look at what has worked.
Yeah.
They can't predict what will work.
Yeah.
Because it will inherently be different.
Yeah.
Ashish dropped this one line that I really liked. He said, if you put too many movies in a month, people will not watch all of them, regardless of how good they are. Because everyone has, he didn't say this, but I interpret this as everyone has a movie wallet. And by wallet, I don't mean just money, also time. There's a certain budget that's allocated to this activity of entertainment in movies, right? If you think about it, on average, let's say I watch like one movie a quarter, right? Let's say someone like an OM or something will watch one movie a month or probably one movie a week, right?
Yeah.
Now, his use case is different. Someone like me, even if I was watching one movie a month, right? I only have allocated mental headspace along with wallet space for one movie.
Yeah.
Even if a great fucking movie comes, I will not watch.
Yeah.
Right? So this is very similar to a very interesting sales tactic that Alex Hormozi talks about. So Alex Hormozi is like this American entrepreneur and he's done like a bunch of cool things in the business space. Great business creator. Highly recommend you watch. He talks about that everyone has a dessert stomach. Now this is very fascinating. If you have dinner, you maybe have some starter thing, then you'll have the main course. Now you can stuff yourself with main course. But if he offers you dessert, you will suddenly have, I can have dessert. You can't have more of the main course, but you can have dessert. And he talks about this in the context of if let's say you had a great service, right? Let's say you're selling production services, right? If you were to sell me production services and I'm like, yeah, Swash, that was great. So he's like, oh, you want to do one more project? I'm like, no, project is done. I don't want. You're like, no, but you liked it, no?
Correct.
So do you want one more? It doesn't work that way because my main project stomach is full. Now what you have to do is you have to upsell me into something else. Oh, do you want to do editing also? That is a separate allocation that you don't account for, which I thought was very similar to this movie thing.
Right.
I might be spending, let's say, 1,000 rupees on shopping, 1,000 rupees on movies. Now, even just because I have 2,000 rupees doesn't mean I'll only spend it in movies.
Correct.
Right? So you have to keep that in mind when you're doing this. I feel like this would also be very similar to, let's say we are doing podcasting.
Yeah.
And MFM, Shan from My First Million says something similar, right? That, hey, it's crazy how much of my knowledge is just through podcasts. Fuck. He says something similar that successful podcasts work on 3 metrics, right? You need to have great banter, great insights, or great access. And all podcasts fight for the same shelf space. Like you can't create a new shelf space in someone's Spotify. Like when I open Spotify, I only see MFM. If I really have time, I might look between
For
founders and Tim Ferriss. And if I'm on YouTube, I look at Joe Rogan clips or Raj Shamani clips or whatever. But like my regular podcast, full listening is MFM. So that's the same thing. So you are fighting for that one coveted podcast spot. Right? So you have to understand why people are coming to you.
Right.
Are we, like we discussed, right? Oh, we're not uploading on Spotify. What should we do? So are we the podcast that people watch on Spotify? Because Spotify is like 10 times more intent for podcasts than YouTube, I would say.
Correct.
Right? Because when you're commuting, when you're doing something, someone has to open, go to library, download podcast, next up, whatever, and then put on your podcast.
Yeah.
So that I thought was a very interesting sort of thought or insight, whatever you want to call it, that understand that for the same activity or the same subset of activities, if someone has 24 hours in a day and they spend 3 hours on YouTube, it does not mean that they are spending 3 hours just watching lifestyle videos or just watching podcasts, right? It's possible that they might be spending half an hour on podcasts, 2 hours on shorts, right? And another half an hour on like whatever, some news or some sports or something. I think that is a nuance that not a lot of people talk about.
Yeah. Why I also felt that this was very interesting was, I mean, you for sure have come across creators being in movies, right? And this is not the first time that we would have seen it. And it's clear like why somebody would want like a creator in a movie, because it's free marketing, like, or not exactly free, but it's like good value for money for the marketing that they would get. So one thing that I found like really interesting is right now the people who are responsible for talent will have to start looking at creators in a new light, because creators will become mainstream if they want it or not. Because for those guys, it's a matter of money, right? Like creators can get like X million of views, but there is no so ticketing is a system. Like a movie's success is measured across how many tickets he sold or they sold, but there is no similar metric for a creator. That's why it's hard to put a number on, oh, let's say having a creator in a lead role will work or not. Or, because they don't belong into the metric system. But it is also a fact that no matter if they don't want, they will end up showing up. And that's why somebody like Bhuvan Bam getting into like a mainstream movie makes so much difference. Like right now, creators are not seen as artists. Like tell me one creator film, like maybe like 2-3 years back, I would say like they were still as big, but they wouldn't be put in like a lead role in a major film, right?
Right.
We never saw them. They were only doing like series on.
They have to reinvent their identity. Yeah.
Exactly. They were either doing series somewhere or like, I think Prajakta Koli was somebody who broke out of that barrier and got into like series. But there were very few creators who got into mainstream media.
Right.
And it was very hard to do that. Because somebody like Bhuvan is getting into mainstream film, it becomes easier for other creators to get into films.
Right.
Like once a creator comes out, releases a movie, sells tickets,
correct.
then
Of
it becomes
course.
easy ki, oh, a creator like this
He's
will
the
make this
one
much
that,
money.
yeah. Correct.
So them breaking the barrier is very important.
Like, he's the one that's breaking the glass ceiling.
Correct. Exactly.
You know, I can think of 2 more examples. One is Zakir Khan. He said something similar, right? Very interesting like thought that why should you as the top person in an industry charge more and more as you go, right? That's because you are the setter, like the benchmark for what everyone else below you is going to charge, right? Like you are the edge.
Yeah.
So if the edge does not move forward, people below you don't move forward.
Right.
Right? Which I thought was such a like a thoughtful way to think of the ecosystem and the community. For him, the stand-up community,
Right.
comedy community,
Yeah.
rather than just that, hey, oh, I'm done, right? No, like you have to keep pushing forward, ताकि the people behind you can also keep on moving. Like you're literally creating space for more people.
Correct. Great that you mentioned this, because I think 2025 is the year that gets marked as creators going mainstream in India. Specifically, one
I
example
mean,
is
2025 is over, bro.
no, yes, but 2025 is over. But I would say this year marks like the starting of like,
Right.
oh, when did it start? 2025 is where it would
Right.
people would say ki it
Makes sense.
started. Specifically because one, this, and also Basi was in a film.
Oh,
Obviously, we know.
really? Oh, with Ranbir Kapoor.
With
right?
Ranbir Kapoor,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Like
correct.
for the first time, I saw like a.
Right. Correct.
I would say he's still a stand-up comedian, but he was still grown on the internet,
Correct.
right? Like somebody from the internet moving into like a
You know
mainstream movie.
what this really reminds me of?
Yeah.
Ayushmann Khurrana. I
Interesting.
love making these analogies.
Right.
Do you remember how Ayushmann Khurrana, I think he won the first or second season of Roadies. Then he moved on to some other reality TV show. He became a movie star, right?
Oh.
Then second was Run Vijay. First season was Ayushmann, second season was Run Vijay. And then Run Vijay basically graduated to becoming a judge.
Crazy.
So it was that jump. Like if those two people were not there,
Yeah.
you know how I used to follow these things too much, Roadies and Splitsvilla, simply because I was like,
No
bro, that
idea,
is
bro.
rock bottom. I will not. But that if I'm not there, I'm good. I used to use it as reverse motivation.
Right.
But so
Rock
like
bottom.
Prince, there was some guy in Splitsvilla.
I think he's now a judge or something.
Yeah, dude. That year was crazy. I think this was when I was in 2015. He won He won Roadies. He went to Splitsvilla. He won that. He went to Big Boss. He won that.
Fuck yeah.
Mad. And now he came back and he's judging and modeling and all
Crazy,
of that.
bro.
So I think Ayushmann, like that's what, right? Like you one person breaks out and then you sort of create like this bridge between
Okay.
two different levels of industries, like you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Like creators
Yeah.
and movies.
Yeah.
So like you're sort of bridging the thing in the middle.
Yeah. Why I say this is the year is because TV and cinema was always very close. Like let's say you were in a TV show, it was easier to get into movies, right? Like, oh, like a lot of people are already watching you. The next right step is just moving into that. Why I talk about it this way, you always had this channel where you had TV as the source. Like, okay, getting into movies, you had two options. Either like you knew somebody or you did something, you entered right into the movies, or you showed up on TV and then moved to movies. Or vice versa. You showed up in the film and then you moved to the TV. That has always happened. Internet has become a new channel where you can end up in movies. Like you're a creator, you want to show your talent.
Correct.
You show up on internet.
It's another
you
sort
work
of
for you.
opportunity,
Now it's a
yeah.
new channel to get
Right.
into movies. Interestingly, this is the first time I've ever seen a creator on the internet in India has gone out and made a movie to the best of my knowledge. The channel is called Mauli Talks.
This is the Telugu one you're
The
talking
Telugu guy. So there is a movie that came out in Telugu. It's called Little Hearts. The lead character's name is Mauli Talks. He always wanted to be an actor. And finally, he was able to get into a lead role as an actor. And he has just released a movie a couple of months back. It was made on a budget of 3 CR and did a collection of 40 CR. It is close to 10x of your investment to outcome, but it puts a good scale on what a indicated creator could do. He has done one more film before this, but that was more like he was like one of the lead characters. But here he's the hero of the movie,
Right.
and it's insane what like this has been able to do.
Right.
On the same lines, Niharika NM has also been Niharika has also been moving into movies.
She's the mom from Jordan Indian, no?
Correct. Like some videos, she was the mom. She did a couple of series last year on Netflix, I think. And she also did a Telugu movie recently, Mitra Mandali. She did a movie. She just got into the movie. And I feel there will be more and more creators who will start ending up in films. This will keep on happening. And this is the first year these many incidents have happened. Before this, if you think about it, it has always been side roles. And to see that like now you're able to like say, no boss, I have the talent to be able to be
Correct.
an important character or lead role. I think this marks the entry of creators into mainstream media. If you are a creator and planning to move into mainstream, I don't think there is a better time. Now's a good place to start.
Do you have to be of a certain follower threshold or reach
I don't
threshold
think I
in
don't
order for
think
this to
that
happen?
is the benchmark. I think it's about like the talent that you have that you can showcase. It becomes way more important. Like your art becomes way more important if you're able to show people the art.
Right.
I think they
Even
will
Ashish Chana
consider-
is similar, right? I think Ashish Chana was a child actor, then massive creator. And then because I was through this research, I was listening to one of her interviews also. And then eventually she is getting into movies now.
Yeah.
So sort of similar arc.
Now that we were talking about creators and films, I came across this very interesting organization and it's called Creator Camp. They started in 2021. Like the idea started in 2021. They did their first camp in 22. And the idea was having, like, you know what's an offsite, right? So it was an offsite for creators because creators are always in this on mode. Like, oh, what is the next video going to be about? How am I going to make it? When are we pushing out? You're always in that circle. So the idea was to get creators outside that, meet other people in the same community and, just like network and stuff. The way they have transitioned is insane. So they started out as this offsite thing. Now they are getting into mainstream films. Like, very interestingly, they put themselves across as they want to
Is
produce.
it Creator Camp or is it Camp Studios?
Camp Studios is their distribution wing. So Camp Studios is their production and distribution wing that they have started this year.
Little context here from my end also. I feel like this is part of that side of the internet and YouTube that is like on that scale of commercial to art, this is like heavy art. I would put Gox, these guys. What is the podcast by the founder of Patreon? Digital Spaghetti.
Digital Spaghetti.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll put Casey Neistat. Like this is that side of the internet,
Yeah,
right? Where these are like just cracked creative people, creative directors. I don't relate. But anyway.
So Creator Camp started as an offsite for creators. And right now they have become the Hollywood for creators. And the transition has been really interesting. So the first year that they started, a very interesting story here. The founders of Creator Camp actually met the founders of Summit. So Summit is this organization which makes events for entrepreneurs and investors. So it's a place where entrepreneurs and investors can network and do other things. So when these guys met them, they were like, oh, we should have something like this for creators, but not for commercial value, but for art value. Like people should come here for art. And that's how the idea started. And the first edition, they raised about $30,000. They barely were able to raise this. The first edition was purely this 3-day boot camp where people come in, sort of network and improve their creative process. The fun starts on the second edition of this. So they started the second edition. They went all out. Because of the first edition went so well that a lot of creators were actually talking about how good it will be to be a part of this. And a lot of companies also came forward to actually sponsor this time. So on the second run, they raised close to $200,000. They invited 35 creators and this became huge. Like now they could get people in for free. The first time they had to pay and go to the camp. The second time it was free. And they had included more activities. And one very interesting thing that they did was a 10-hour challenge. You might have seen, a lot of people might have come across this, where the creators were made into groups, like a cinematographer, director, writer, or any group, 3 to 4 people groups, and sent to different locations in the country to make a film in 10 hours. So they were given 10 hours to go and make this film. Everybody made this film and put it out on the internet. And also like and during the camp, I think this was a week-long camp. During the camp, they made videos for the camp. This just blew up. Like the creator camp, the only thing creators who were in the extreme art side really talked about as an event was only Creator Camp. This year is the first time they introduced Camp Studios, where this is their production and distribution wing. I don't know officially how much they have raised this year, but they allocated $100,000 for 9 short films and $100,000 for a feature film this time. And for a Hollywood price scale, this is abysmally small amount to make a movie in. They were able to make the movie, release it in a theater, right now in the process of doing a film tour. Like they are releasing it in multiple theaters as shows, and also like the whole team is going and visiting and doing whatever necessary. And this is the first time a creator's idea for a feature film has been put money into and actually produced. They put it out very brilliantly. They're like, we produce films that Hollywood will not pick up because the creators are too small. We will produce projects that are too experimental for Hollywood. There's this movie called Jumper or something. I don't know. Like it was like mostly camera shot footage about supernatural powers.
Like he can teleport from one place to the other.
Correct. And I think there was a precursor to this. Jumper is like a fully fledged Hollywood movie. Before that, there was another movie also, which really took off. Like it was also made in a very small budget. It was like an art film, but like really took off, made a lot of money. These guys want to be that. They want to provide the opportunity to be able to do that.
Interesting.
And like the lineup for these guys has been insane.
So this reminds me, the whole AI filmmaking thing is very similar, no?
Yeah.
Like how these guys did it.
Correct.
But before we get to that, you know what this reminds me of? Have you seen that YouTube channel Sticks? Do you know what Sticks is?
Yeah.
So Sticks, for people who don't know, started off, their whole tagline was, we make movies on creators. So they made like these Netflix trailers. You know how like a Netflix trailer is?
Yeah.
They made that, but for creators. So it was the life of, I think their first one was Ryan Trehan. They did
Their
one with
first
Emma
was Ryan
Chamberlain.
Trehan. Crazy,
Let me
bro.
just pull it up.
I've
Their
seen it.
Earlier ones were Ryan Trehan. Then they did one.
insane.
The whole idea was that, hey, we will make movies for creators until, I think trailers for creators until we can make a movie for Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Right? That was
On
their whole
Mr.
sort
Beast.
of pitch. So their first one was Iraq.
Iraq, correct.
First one was Iraq. Second was Ryan Trehan. Third was Mark Rober. Then came Zach King. Then came Matt Pat. Then came Smosh. Then Emma Chamberlain. Then Nick DiGiovanni. And I think now they've reached Mr. Beast. They reached Mr. Beast before only.
Yeah.
Now they reached. Dude, I have a crazy story. Do you know how I know these guys? So back in 2022, I was part of this program called Creator Now. It was basically like a CBC cohort-based course. It wasn't like a course thing. It was more like I was part of this cohort, right? Maybe I've talked about this before, but it was started by Iraq and it was managed by his manager, who is Eric Honover, if I'm spelling his name right, pronouncing his name right. Now, these guys started this cohort and the whole idea was, hey, we will teach you how to make content like creator, like more on the artistic side. And basically, you had these live sessions. I remember having a live session with Hayden Hiller-Smith, Logan Paul's editor. I don't think Casey Neistat came, but like all of these like prolific creators, right? Iraq took a bunch of sessions. And I remember I was in like the second or third cohort, and the fourth cohort had these two guys that were trying to make trailers. And we had like a, I think, Circle community or Discord community where I remember them putting their intro. I remember the first intro that they put, oh, we are trying to do this. And they were still figuring out what they were doing before only. Like before this, they used to make films and everything. If you look at their YouTube, right? They were still doing that and they were talking about that. And then they put up this first video that just blew up. That blew like insane proportions, right? And at that point, I just remember looking at that. I'm like, dude, that's a brilliant fucking concept, right? Of like the concept, the execution, the two brothers from Australia, how they're managing to do all of this. And I think YouTube is one of those places. I really relate to what Samir Rana said for content, right? Like he said, comedians have seen everything. I'm sure this applies to everything. He was talking about in the Indian context. They're like, hum Indian comedians ne sab cheez dekh liya. So when we see something new, we get very excited, right? And he was talking about this in the context of Shrija Chaturvedi. This was in his series of live streams that he did with Vidit Atre, where he broke down the science of comedy. Beautiful playlist, 100% you should watch it. And he talks about like the way that Shrija talks in that sort of slow, broken down thing. We like it's so new, it's so fresh, we love it. And I got that feeling from these guys, right? It was so new, so fresh. Otherwise, everyone is just trying to optimize the same thing, right?
Yeah.
These guys have like a totally different angle to it. Very similarly, they end their videos with they first create a trailer. That's their leg in. Before they make the movie, they create it's like they're making biographies for these creators. So they end the trailer with calling the person to watch the trailer in a theater. And I think as they have grown, they have actually started inviting people to, it's like a red carpet event, right? Oh, we're watching a trailer for this person.
Right.
Oh, we're watching a movie for that person. So then their movie actually goes on the theater, which is insanely cool.
Yeah.
But as you're saying this, one thing I'm wondering is, can this happen in India? Why is this not happening in India?
I think a variation of this we saw with the AI Film Festival that happened. Like, okay, everybody was there. Idea behind the film festival was we'll make a full-fledged film through AI. And I think this time they did like a bunch of trailers. I've seen like a lot of AI creators were invited. Is there a word called AI filmmaker now?
I guess,
Is it a thing?
Yeah,
now?
that is a thing.
Like
AI, I don't know about AI filmmaking, but AI video creator is definitely a thing. Where like you understand how to make video with AI.
Correct.
Like understanding the prompt generation to get to the image, taking, I think from what I understand is you do the input output, right? So you tell the first frame and last frame of that sequence of, hey, I want it to look like this. And then you use something like a Kling, which is like this AI tool to stitch it all together. So you give Kling input output and it gives you the video. It fills it all in. So it's that process of, hey, like giving the right steps and then just getting AI to fill it in. It's like that. So you have to think of what the scene has to look like. Very similar to, I would imagine, like a director's job. Okay, like this is what my vision for the movie is. And then you just like discreetly plan that, create that, and then AI just sort of fills it all in.
Also, why I thought like creator camp was like mind blowing was because, bro, if like Hollywood doesn't produce a film, we will do it.
Right. The same sort of concept, right? That if the pendulum swings in one direction, there's opportunity on the other end for you to capitalize.
Yeah. And I think it's very interesting to see how like the whole thing will evolve into.
Right.
Because we are pretty sure like creators will be making movies very soon.
What's the so what? Why should someone care?
I think there's a lot of opportunity in being able to do something like this because there's definitely a lot of interest. Like creators want a space that they can call it's for them. So there is IFP. It's called Indian Film Project. They are super huge and they definitely cater to filmmakers. Like it's a place where filmmakers can go and find people like themselves. But there's no space for that like in India for creators.
Yet.
And exactly. There's no space like that for creators yet. And definitely there's a space if there are people who are able to nurture the program the right way. I think there's definitely a lot of creators who would be interested to go to a place where they can meet more like-minded creators and like really get more out of it.
But anyway, is that the pod?
That's the part.
I think that's the pod.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. 97% of you are not subscribed. Please subscribe for us to improve the show and to get you more high-value guests, high-value conversations. One, we need to feel motivated, and two, people need to see numbers to agree to come on. And for that, we need more subscribers. So if you like this episode, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so we show up on your feed more, and you tell the algorithm that you like our show, and it pushes it to more people. And we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
See you on the next one.